Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today we'll be discussing a case study that focused on how organization responded to the challenge brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, especially looking at organization change and development. The company that we choose is Petroliam Nasional Berhad, which is PETRONAS, the Malaysian national oil and gas company. We selected PETRONAS because of its critical role in the country economy and the major change it had to make during the post-pandemic era. So, I'm going to introduce the focus of our case study, which is how PETRONAS responded to COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic brought high disruption globally, with many industries severely affected. The oil and gas sector, where PETRONAS operation was hit especially hard due to a rapid decline in demand and falling oil price. PETRONAS also faced operational difficulties such as travel restriction that limited staff movements, delay in supply chains, and challenge in maintaining workforce safety. Because the company played a vital role in Malaysian economy, providing significant revenue to the government, the company's ability to manage this challenge was critical, not just for itself but for the nation as well. This case study focused on organization change PETRONAS made during and after the pandemic. We will explore how the company adapted its structure, processes, and strategy to respond effectively to the crisis. Using the lesson from Chapter 6 through 8 of our course, which cover organization change, development, and resilience, we aim to understand the specific approach PETRONAS to maintain business continuity and plan for a more sustainable and resilient future in a world that is rapidly changing.
I will briefly explain the background of PETRONAS, Malaysian National Oil and Gas Company. PETRONAS was founded in 1974 and is fully owned by Malaysian government. It was established to manage and develop the country's oil and gas resources, both onshore and offshore. Since then, PETRONAS has grown a lot. Now it's worked in more than 35 countries. The company is involved in many sectors, including exploration and production, refining liquefied natural gas and LNG, petrochemicals, shipping, and more. In 2019, PETRONAS was ranked the 105th largest company in the world by Fortune Global 500. It was also named one the new Seven Sisters by the Financial Times. This shows PETRONAS is an important oil company around the world. PETRONAS is also very important to Malaysia's economy. It gives a big part of its profit to the government, helping to support the national budget. Today, PETRONAS is not just working on oil and gas, it's also looking into clean and green energy. The company wants to have net zero carbon emission by the year 2050.
Now we have covered the background of PETRONAS, let's dive into two key organizational development issues the company faced during the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll begin with a challenge one that tested PETRONAS internally and then move on to a successful strategic engagement. For the first issue, where PETRONAS facing a field engagement, which is the struggle in resistance to change. At the start of the pandemic, PETRONAS had to roll out drastic internal changes very quickly. This included transitioning employees to remote work, introducing new health and safety SOPs, and eventually mandating COVID-19 vaccinations by October 2021. But these changes met significant resistance, especially in the early phases. Employees were hesitant about remote work, unsure about productivity and job expectations. Field staff and contractors were reluctant to follow the new safety protocols, citing unclear instructions and PPE shortages. Communication from leadership at first wasn't always consistent. The result, Rising anxiety, lower morale, and friction across multiple levels, something that was echoed in internal surveys and reflected across the oil and gas industry. From an OD perspective, this is a textbook example of resistance to top-down change where rapid decisions are made without enough input or clarity for the people expected to carry them out. While PETRONAS eventually addressed this concern by improving communication, launching mental health programs, and using employee feedback tools, the initial rollout lacked inclusiveness, which made adoption slower and more painful than it needed to be.
Now, I will talk about the second issue that gives a successful engagement for PETRONAS, which is sustaining business continuity. In contrast, PETRONAS handled its strategic continuity remarkably well during the same period. Despite the oil price crash and global shutdowns, the company managed to keep critical operations running and maintain energy supply across Malaysia and international market. The company saw its revenue drop by over 22% in the first half of 2020 from 121 billion ringgit to 93 billion ringgit. They even reported a net loss of 16.5 billion ringgit due to the oil price crash and weak global demand. This situation tested their ability to keep operation running while facing uncertainty and financial strain. They also implemented structured crisis response framework, activated business continuity plans, and made decisive financial adjustment in reducing capital expenditure (CapEx) from 47.8 billion to 33.4 billion in 2022. Digital transformation was also fast-tracked, which is introducing e-approvals, remote asset monitoring, and paperless workflows almost overnight. In 2020, PETRONAS ended losses. By 2021, PETRONAS had recovered strongly, reporting profits of 48.6 billion ringgit. From an organizational development, which is OD perspective, disconnect with contracting and data gathering. PETRONAS had to realign its internal priorities, enforce cost discipline, and gather real-time operational data to make decisions. Their strong financial planning allowed them to maintain critical operations such as energy supply and refining, even during Malaysia's strict movement control (MCO). If PETRONAS failed to act quickly, the consequences could have included production shutdowns and mass layoffs. Instead, they showed resilience through cost optimization, restructuring, and strategic planning.
Despite the serious challenge, PETRONAS took several strategic actions to overcome the crisis. First, they strictly enforced health, safety, security and environment or HSSE protocols, which allow safe operation during the movement control order. Employees who could work from home were quickly shifted to remote work, while on-site staff follow strict safety guidelines to ensure business continuity. Financially, PETRONAS applied strong fiscal discipline. They reviewed expense, cut unnecessary costs, and optimized operation across the value chain. They help stabilize the company finance, where they prepare short, medium, and long-term mitigation plan to manage risk caused by the pandemic. At the same time, employee welfare remains a priority. PETRONAS continue salary payment, protect jobs, and support staff with skill development program to prepare for future business needs. Additionally, PETRONAS contribute 20 million for medical equipment to support the additional healthcare system during the pandemic. They show not only their business resilience but also their social responsibility toward the community during the national crisis.
To make this change successful, several change agents play key roles internally. PETRONAS leadership team, including top management and HR leaders, acted quickly to develop agile crisis strategies while maintaining staff morale. HR and operation teams work together to ensure a smooth transition to remote work and implement new work model efficiently. Externally, PETRONAS coordinates closely with the Malaysian government and regulatory bodies to comply with the health directive and operational guidelines. The collaboration between internal and external change agents enabled PETRONAS to demonstrate resilience, adaptability, and readiness for future challenges in a rapidly changing environment.
Was Petronas response effective during the COVID-19 crisis? Yes, it was effective in many ways, but there were also some weaknesses. Financially, Petronas lost a lot of money. Their revenue dropped 22.7% from 121.1 billion ringgit Malaysian in the first half of 2019 to 93.6 billion ringgit Malaysian in the first half of 2020. Still, they managed to keep a positive cash flow of 26.3 billion ringgit Malaysian. So, this is show they control the spending well and manage their money carefully, even though they had a net loss of 16.5 billion ringgit Malaysian. Operationally, they focus on keeping the business running safely. They make sure that important service like offshore or production continue. They also follow head rules and change work arrangement during Malaysia Movement Control Order (MCO). This helped them stay stable during the crisis.
In terms of organizational development, Petronas took steps to accelerate digital transformation and employee adaptability. However, the transformation was largely reactive, triggered by the pandemic rather than part of a proactive strategy. The company had to create new systems very quickly, which showed they were not fully prepared. Looking at Audi from a diagnostic and feedback view, Chapter 8, Petronas learned as they went along. They used what they learned to make better decisions. Yet, the lack of early digital preparedness and employee resistance suggests that a formal change readiness culture was not fully embedded prior to the crisis. So, their response was effective under the circumstances, resilient, adaptive, and grounded in ODI principles like communication, leadership support, and stakeholder engagement. But to be better in the future, they should plan for possible problem scenario planning, train their people regularly, upskilling, and create a team inside the company that focus on change and improvement and internal audit unit. This will help Petronas not just survive future challenges but lead others through them.
To conclude, this case study demonstrates that even a large and traditionally structured organization like Petronas can successfully adapt under extreme pressure when guided by strong leadership and sound organizational development principles. It highlights that business continuity relies heavily on financial clarity, organizational agility, and data-informed decision-making. While resistance to change is a natural response, it can be effectively managed through meaningful participation, clear communication, and adequate support for those affected. The case also reinforced the importance of core OD processes such as contracting data, gathering, and feedback as essential tools for diagnosing issues, managing change, and sustaining long-term transformation. Most importantly, it proves that meaningful change is possible even in rigid environments when organizations commit to learning, adapting, and involving their people in the process.
Thank you for paying attention to our video presentation. We hope you may gain a new knowledge on how an organization responds to the challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically looking at organizational change and development based on the company that we choose, which is Petronas. That's all from us. Bye!